Welcome back. Jazz musicians on Guam are making plans this Sunday for a benefit concert for longtime jazz singer Patti Lane Rivera, who was recently diagnosed with having cancer. Originally from England, Patti Lane made Guam her home 33 years ago. Here to promote this Sunday's benefit concert, which is being held at the Fishbowl in Tumon, is local legendary singer herself, Telo Taitague. Lovely Telo, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and hello Guam, everyone.
So bummed you weren't Senator.
Oh.
So tell us the jazz history of Patti Lane for those that aren't aware of just highlights perhaps.
Well, she started off singing. She was actually discovered by a pastor when she was about 13 years old.
Methodist Church.
Yep, in London. She was singing, and the pastor recognized that this voice was something very unique, and sent her off to a woman for some training. And actually the woman was in classical music, and they took her, they molded her, and so she has a little bit of background in classical, but then she came into singing jazz, which was her love, you know, and she kept that going on. But it was classical that helped her, and then later on she played with such great musicians,
right?
You know, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, you know. Peggy Lee was one of the people that she had worked with in Britain, and then she traveled around the world with her son. She had a son, and when he was about 11 years old, and in 1974, Patti came to Guam, and she made Guam her home there.
That's right. Now, how is it that Patti inspired the likes of you and people like Tommy Bajado and Patrick Palomo? When she first moved to Guam, she started singing or doing fundraisers herself, or?
Well, the inspiration, first, she's just a wonderful, wonderful woman. When you meet her, you never feel intimidated to be with her. She makes you feel welcomed. And she started off singing jazz with a couple pianists, older piano players, and she is like the musician's musician. So when all of us were playing in clubs like, gosh, it was the Odyssey back then, it was Continental Hotel back then, there were a lot of us playing, and Top of the Reef. After we would get back, we would go listen to her. She had this sultry, beautiful voice that was amazing, and she'd always come to you and encourage you, talk about jazz and talk about how she started, and it grew from there. But I think the inspiration, how she got us into it so much, was that she did not sell herself out.
Right.
She stayed with jazz.
She was true.
And true to the art of jazz, while all of us were doing disco. Remember the 70s, you know, like that. She stayed true to it, and it taught us so much. And even though she sang as long as she could, she didn't give up on jazz, and she's the diva. You know, she's just an amazing person.
Now, speaking of being true, I did want to give you guys a plug for putting on this concert, because it always seems to me that on this little island of Guam, whenever someone's in need, it's first and foremost, more often than not, it's the musicians and the artists that kick in. And why do you think that is? Well, passion, what is it?
Definitely passion, you know. An artist has so much passion to give, but I think it's because of the kind of lifestyle we have and the income that comes in. Hence the word struggling musician, struggling artist.
It's for the love.
It's true, you know, and a lot of us, when we're playing at a club, we're only there for about 3 or 4 months, and then the club would like to change and add another variety, something else. Same thing with artists. You're commissioned to do a certain amount of work, and when you have this kind of work, you don't have health care, you don't have retirement benefits, you don't have any of that, and we all know that. So when a musician knows when one is in trouble, we all have gone through that. And we want to help out. So I think that the musicians and artists get together because they know how difficult it is. I mean, they're so talented out there.
Yeah. And this is no small task either. What does it take to put on an event like this?
A woman like Patti Lane. it takes a woman that's just like that that inspired so many people. And then we hear about what's happening to her. We all get together, the people that she touched. So it takes a person like Patty Lane to get something off the road. I mean, I just found out about this the other day. And it's really Roberto Francassini had started this up. He got on the phone. He found out what happened to Patty, went to visit her at the hospital, and he knew he had to do something about it. And there was not one single musician he called on the phone to tell him what happened to Patty, and she needed help. And everyone agreed to come out to participate in this event that's happening on Sunday.
Speaking of which, who are the draws that are going to be there?
Well, there are so many people, and I hate to say miss anybody.
Right.
But musicians from all over the island that has a love for jazz and has played jazz will be there. But what makes